we were very cognizant that any innovation around AI and automation we do, it's easy to adopt. We focus more on adoption, ROI, not in just in terms of labor, man-hour savings, but also in terms of patient and clinician and caregiver and staff experience. The three KPIs that he can achieve out of adopting AI is expand, efficiency, and experience. The first problem that AI has solved is currently what I call it as interoperability.
Why don't you tell me, first off, just give me sort of a brief introduction to how you made your way to the position that you're in right now at AutomationEdge.
Sure. Thanks, Chris, for inviting me to this wonderful interview. So I actually just happened to accidentally get into my position. I'm currently a Chief Customer Officer at AutomationEdge, and our focus is specifically on home care. So I was doing a lot of consulting in my career over the years. I'm a computer science master's graduate from Michigan, and my bent of inclination was always towards computer science and engineering and innovation. And as I was doing consulting in various consulting organizations, I ran into product companies, and one of the big brand names in product is BMC Software. So BMC Software is mostly like a help desk, which is mainly for IT help desk software. What we are used to on IT helping the business, right, on day-to-day technology issues that we run into. And then as I moved over to product, I understood how I can apply my experience of consulting into a product mix. And then I joined AutomationEdge about 6-7 years back. And in that, we pretty much put automation and AI as front and center. And I rose up the ranks in sales, operations, and then eventually becoming this executive. We also pivoted our automation innovation story from generic automation across all industry verticals like manufacturing, banking, insurance, and pivoted towards healthcare about 5 years back.
Okay.
And in that process, I moved to healthcare, and also we pivoted further and doubled down on home care. And that's how I became pretty much, you can call me as Chief Customer Officer for home care, or Chief Home Care Officer, if you want to call it for automation. So very interesting journey, but,
cool.
But I'm so happy, and I'm such a contented person as an individual too in this role, making a difference.
Speaking of, just briefly speaking about AutomationEdge in particular, within the at-home care space, just take me through some of the solutions that AutomationEdge offers that you think are really good solutions, really efficacious solutions for providers looking to add value to their operations, looking to bolster the outcomes for their patients and clients.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even at AutomationEdge, when we were trying to invest for automation and AI, as our company name stands for, we were very cognizant that any innovation around AI and automation we do, it's easy to adopt. We focus more on adoption than technology. So we classified the AI solutions into two categories. One was prescriptive AI, and second was predictive AI.
Okay.
So we said, let's start with AI 1.0 for AutomationEdge in home care with prescriptive AI. The prescriptive AI essentially is centered around where the end user who is consuming AI is aware of what AI is doing for them. For example, for patient intake, or AI staffing, or onboarding of caregivers and clinicians, referrals processing when it comes to census acceptance, or digital assistants who help on primarily knowledge management solutions to help more self-service. These are traditional prescriptive AI, what we call as care flows in AutomationEdge. These are workflow based, and every persona, it's a caregiver, a back office staff, a scheduler, or clinician, or management can log into this CareFlow portal and have the AI experience.
Gotcha.
The second phase of AI that we are investing and doubling down is prescriptive AI. And that's where we are seeing that it requires much more data-centric modeling, right from LLMs to ingesting data that will spit out things like care plans, to also integrating AI to IoT, because these home care patients will have devices that are monitoring their vitals, and then that data will be used to combine with prescriptive AI.
Gotcha.
Better outcomes. Yeah.
So a fully integrated smart house, if you will.
Absolutely.
With AI at the center of it. That's awesome.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So let's get into these questions, okay? First question, and obviously we're going to be talking about AI quite a bit in this interview.
Sure.
What AI tools currently show the best ROI for at-home care providers?
Yeah. ROI has been in the industry for a long time now, right? Decades. Essentially, it means, return on investment. So how do you measure ROI? Traditional measurement was always about cost savings, right? But we have redefined at AutomationEdge ROI not in just in terms of labor, man-hour savings, but also in terms of patient and clinician and caregiver and staff experience,
right?
In terms of mean time to respond, what we call as MTTR. So we have kind of gone beyond just traditional man hours and cost savings, and we measure where we use this prescriptive AI to see how we transform the experience. Some of the AI, ROI metrics that I can give you from our care flows, for example, can our AI solution on referral intake improve the acceptance rate of patients or census from, let's say right now 10% year over year to 30% or 40%, right? So that's the outcome we are looking at. Second is, with our revenue cycle management care flows, can I reduce the revenue leakage or write-offs reduced by, 70, 80% is another metric. Third is clinician caregiver productivity. They spend hours and hours and hours on documentation, based on regulatory requirements, based on, payer terms. Can I improve their productivity by at least 30% or 50%?
Sure.
Right? So that's another metric. So it's not just about, like I said, translating, FTE costs and reducing them, cutting staff. It's much more outcome-based ROI that we look at.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. If you were, this is a hypothetical, obviously, but if you were face-to-face with a provider CEO or CFO who was, a little bit reticent, on the fence about embracing or more fully embracing AI in their operations, what would you tell them?
Great question, right? So I strongly believe in role play in my role, right? When I say I'm a chief customer officer, I have to wear the hat of a CEO of a provider or a CFO or a CEO of a provider. So I always think what they are thinking. I put myself in their shoes. So as a CEO of a provider or an agency in home care or home health, their biggest fear is survival, right? They literally are facing existential threat in terms of their reimbursement rates are getting squeezed, their compliance costs are rocketing by based on each state's regulations, and their margins are razor thin.
Yes.
So how can AI become their financial survival toolkit is the prime goal.
Yeah.
So if a CEO is just about to adopt AI and he's not sure, I'm going to say AI is your lifeline, Mr. CEO.
Hmm.
So it's almost like, I'll give you an analogy, Chris, right? Do you want to be just a man or you want to be an Iron Man, right?
Hmm.
So we know the Iron Man Marvel character. He's a genius. He's proficient scientist and engineer, and he has an armor suit.
Hmm.
All these three qualities are the ingredients of an AI toolkit that the CEO will have. So, and again, the CEO, I'm just being biased, being a man, it could be a woman too. I'm a woman, right? So it is a survival toolkit. But then as you adopt more AI as a CEO, the three KPIs that he can achieve out of adopting AI is expand, efficiency, and experience. The triple E's, I call them. Expand your operations in terms of adding more locations to service lines, to census, gain more efficiency in your operations so you reduce your costs and improve your experience, patient experience, clinician experience, back office experience. So I would say trust your AI, Mr. CEO. I think they will be always make sure you do that due diligence of having a responsible AI solution, right? And have a plan in place from a transition from a manual to an automated / AI-based operations. That's key. Just don't pick 10 different tools that are doing AI, and then you're just struggling to which one to prioritize and also roll them out in the organization.
Gotcha. Cool. We're trying to make a lot of Iron Men and women.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. All right. So as we know, AI has, and we've talked about it in this interview so far, many different iterations. AI is leveraged in many different ways in this industry. What is one specific variable or facet, really, of AI in the at-home care ecosystem industry that leaders may not know about, but has significant upside potential going forward?
Yeah, I would go back to my original definition of prescriptive AI versus predictive AI, right?
Sure.
So it is so seamless and frictionless to deploy a prescriptive AI-based solution that the industry leaders are not able to gauge the upside potential. Like I was telling you about the KPIs that agencies or providers have already achieved. So it is a transformative experience for a provider, and the upside is in terms of how much of efficiency, how much of responsiveness, in terms of time, and also, if you think about it, finally it becomes, whether you're able to provide care to the patient, right? So if a patient comes in for, let's say, I'm going to take an example of a service line, right? Let's say they come for personal care, which is non-medical, which typically lasts for months to even years. Then they go into home health, which is more medical or a combination of home health and personal care as they are aging. And then they go into palliative and then eventually to hospice, right? So if you're able to, if you think about it, the prescriptive AI is more centric around first two service lines, which is personal care and home health. Whereas you want to really take care of the patient in terms of, significant medical care and attention for, the second service lines, which is, let's say, hospice, and where patient has more challenges to deal with. So this prescriptive AI is where I think the leaders have to really see that significant upside potential. And we are seeing with AutomationEdge, especially our top 5 care flows, whether it is referral intake or caregiver onboarding or retention, or digital assistant tools that we're providing, all of them are making significant impacts in terms of the upside of both achieving bottom line goals as well as top line goals in terms of higher census.
Okay, cool. All right, a couple more questions. Looking into the future, if you had a crystal ball, paint me a picture, if you will, of how AI will be integrated / utilized more fully into a provider's operations. Not a particular provider, obviously, but holistically into providers' operations, say within the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, great question, Chris. Nowadays, 1 year, 2 year, it's itself is such a significant
Mhm.
shift in technology. Predicting something which is next 5 to 10 years is, I would say, revolutionary, right?
Mhm.
So, and home care or a provider for home care is no exception to that. The first problem that AI has solved is currently what I call it as interoperability,
Mhm.
right? So AI has made that completely transparent for providers' operations in terms of civil sharing of different systems, to having data which is very unstructured available in spreadsheets, and giving a combined interface through an app or a portal with a real-time data available for clinicians and caregivers and back office staff.
Right.
But then if you extend that in the next few years, let's say 3 to 5 years, once we have more prescriptive and predictive AI models in place, including what I call it as multimodal AIs.
Okay.
Multimodal AIs is not just text-based, intelligent responses. You're also combining voice and
Mhm.
video content to the patient experience and also your clinician's experience.
Okay.
So when you combine that, you would see that these digital assistants are transforming themselves to digital twins.
Mhm.
The difference between the two is digital assistants is more, like I said, question response paradigm, whereas digital twins is literally doing prediction to say, if I'm taking care of the patient, how do I reduce fall? So this video content and voice conversations with the patient and the clinician for a patient at home is spitting out
Mhm.
the data and the models to prevent falls, and that is preventing hospitalization, right? And that's readmissions, and that's
Mhm.
exactly what we want. So when you have the convergence of prescriptive AI and predictive AI working in tandem, the
Mhm.
next 5 years are going to be hugely, hugely transformational for patients in a typical home care provider setting.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool. So final question. This kind of dovetails from the question you just answered. What new AI tools do you see on the horizon for this industry, and how do you think that they will positively impact at-home care?
Yeah. So I think the AI tools are right now, um, in not hundreds, thousands right now, just in healthcare, for that matter, home care. If you look at FDA site, right, or for that example, or for that matter, CMS,
Mhm.
FDA has listed, for example, 1,000 AI tools, and in that 1,000 AI tools that they are going through approval or they've been approved, they've they've categorized that out of them, you will be surprised that the number one AI tools in terms of the quality and the quantity is primarily in radiology.
Hmm.
That's very interesting data point, right? So if what does that mean to us, right? What that means is that if there's a device that's touching the patient vitals and spitting out information,
Mhm.
which is clinical, how that translates to actual text in terms of the findings or the diagnosis, and how that flows into an EMR through a caregiver or a clinician, and how that's being used further for care plans, right?
Mhm.
I just took you through the different data points. So what that means is that when an AI a digital assistant or a twin is working in tandem, you will have real-time information instead of just relying on patient documentation that's coming as faxes. Today, everything comes as fax.
Mhm.
The AI tool will go to the original source of data from the diagnostic device itself, and it's integrated.
Okay.
And then the analysis, the ingestion, the models will work on a real-time basis, and then that will translate to an efficient care plan, and that's improving the longevity of the patient in terms of the care. And that's huge. The whole intelligent health monitoring will be transformative, and these are the new AI tools that'll impact home care in a significant way.
Gotcha. Really cool stuff on the horizon, no doubt about it.
Yes.
Okay, well, I don't have any more questions for you. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we wrap up here?
Well, I would like to, end with a quote. I know you talked about a quote, right? So I strongly believe that we are in for something very special in home care. And I always, looking back at my own personal experience of taking care of my parents and grandparents growing up, care always begins at home, right? And also ends with home.
Mm-hmm.
So how can AI give that experience to where a child is born at home, and so is, the end of life also ends at home, not in the hospital, not in somewhere which is not very conducive to the family. So
Right.
I strongly believe AI is somewhere in the middle to ensure that care starts at home, which begins at home, also care ends at home. And AI will ensure that, and we will be part of that transformation journey.
That sounds great. Well, Siva, it's been really nice talking to you this morning. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Chris, for the opportunity. It was wonderful talking to you.
Same here. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.